It might be that your writing is driving you nuts, or that you're so absorbed in your work that you're doing scatty things like losing stuff or missing appointments. How can we stay sane whilst writing? I want to cover two aspects of insanity whilst writing and how we can stay sane. So the first is where your writing is driving you nuts. The second is where you're so absorbed in your writing that it's having an effect on your life because you're becoming a bit scatterbrained. If we deal with the second, it will have a positive effect on the first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through a technique to bring you back down to earth if you are being scatty, and then I'm going to tell you how that technique is going to help you if your writing is driving you nuts. So in terms of this whole scatterbrain thing, I was so absorbed in my work in progress that I accidentally locked myself out of the house, or I just missed a doctor's appointment. Here's where the to-do list comes in. Now, if you're anything like me and an uber creative person, the idea of a to-do list is a little bit like the anti-hero. It's like, no, don't bring a to-do list anywhere near me. I'm an artist, I'm a writer. So I've created a slightly different aspect of the to-do list. So here's what you can do. You're in your work in progress and you're just about to finish your writing for the day and you want to come back to the real world. But you don't want to do it in a sort of tick box, got to pay my bills kind of way. So what I do is I get a blank piece of paper or I open up a Word document, depending on what mood I'm in. So find a way that suits you. And then you again start to write. If I were to come back down to earth, what would that mean? And so you're still feeling a little bit creative, but through that creative pursuit, you're slowly coming back into the real world. So you're saying things like, well, if I were to come back into the real world, maybe I'd start thinking about what needs to be done around the house. Maybe I'd start imagining what I'm going to have for supper. And then that might kickstart, oh, well, actually, I need to start going to the shops. And so then you make a little grocery list. And slowly, 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 you're bringing your mind back from that world that you were in to write your novel back into the supposed real world. And then that makes you much more focused on what's going on around you. So the beauty of this is that it has an impact on that second insanity whilst writing, which is my writing's just driving me mad. So if you ever had that experience where you're working on something and even though you put it away for the day, you just can't stop it going around in your mind. You're trying to meet friends for drinks in the pub, but you're kind of sitting there just dwelling on what you wrote that day and maybe the fact that it wasn't any good. So again, when you take that moment to just spend a little time either working on the laptop or writing on that scrap of paper about how you can come back to the real world, what it does is it signals to your brain, the writing's over for the day. And the benefit of that means that your subconscious is then going to take over. So that's quietly going to be thinking about your work in progress in the background. So all those really crazy thoughts don't seem to be in the forefront. So you can carry on with your daily life, go out, meet friends, go to the supermarket, have dinner, and all the while the subconscious is going on in the background, creating all the solutions so that when you wake up in the morning, not only are you sane, but you will also find that anything that you were slightly dwelling on back there has a nice little solution. So the next time you find yourself preoccupied with your writing or getting a little bit scatterbrained, get that blank piece of paper out, get that blank Word document out and just start to write, how can I come back to the real world? It's such a great technique and I guarantee that if you try it out for a few days in a row, you will notice a huge difference. So here we go, a nice little 5-minute tip to really benefit your world as a writer and to help keep you sane so that when you do come down to write, you can write no matter what, which, as you know, is what I'm all about. I will see you next Monday.